For hours he sat hunched over his prize, its once white form marred by dirt and soot, his walnut knuckles twisting their way skillfully around it. Walter could see the final product in his mind and had nearly achieved it. It was show-and-tell day. He just had to finish his project. He would stay nose to his desk until then. And while Walter was correct, he would complete his task. This wouldn't happen until 5 minutes after the school bell had rung, which meant Walter would be late. Again. Walter was always late. Chapter 2. The Hawk on the Hill. The Mortinson home was just between the town to the west and the junkyard to the east. While once the house had been exactly between the two, as time had gone on, the town had kept its distance, and the junkyard had grown larger and closer. And if anyone in the town of Moormouth had been curious, they might have noticed Tippy Tedesco, a tall woman, standing atop one of the spindly junkyard heaps. A particularly curious person might even have seen the whirring gold mechanism in her ear. But no one paid Tippy any mind. I suppose that's no surprise. No one in Moormouth paid attention to much at all. If you didn't notice the mechanism in her ear, however, it's possible you might see the glint of her strange gold goggles instead. They fitted over her glasses, and the lenses of the goggles spun as they automatically focused on whatever she spied. All at once, they were able to cut through the town's overbearing smog and magnify anything for a good mile. Tippy herself made quite the hawkish impression, squinting past her twice-broken nose, hunched at the shoulder, perched high above the town. Fortunately, no one cared to look. They were too busy with their daily routines. Moormouthians streamed from their dull houses and, like clockwork, trudged to their even duller schools and businesses where they were supposed to be. Not one man, woman, or child looked out of place, or, as it happened, happy. Tap, tap, tap. Tippy drummed a code into her earpiece. Like goldfish in a bowl, they have adapted to their surroundings with empty-headed indifference. No wonder, the lady thought as she pinched her beaky snout, trying to stem the smell of burned rubber. Her eyes glazed as she watched what could only be described as human cogs in a foggy factory town machine. For that's what the town was, a great factory. Boys and girls were raised to believe that they should care about nothing more than doing what they were told. What they were told, of course, was to be quick about it and just grow up already. So that's what the children did. Boys and girls became men and women. Men and women then went on to do what they were told, work in big square buildings that puffed out smoke like snoring grandpas. The men and women, who probably would have been better off just staying boys and girls, would stand in front of conveyor belts all day long, making dreadful things like itchy woolen socks and rigid white toothbrush handles. For their whole lives they'd slouch in assembly lines, twisting sock hairs or trimming brush bristles, never wondering what lay beyond the concrete walls of their cold, colorless town, because, after all, they'd never been told to wonder. If each place had a personality, something to be most known for, Moormouth was the place where people worked sun-up till sundown until the very day they died. The beaky woman shook her head as her gaze shifted to the only house she cared about, the one unique fixture Moormouth had to offer. The slouching building squatted a good distance from the rest of the town. The space between gave the impression that either the house was running away from Moormouth